Have you ever pulled on a shirt in the morning without thinking about it? Have you ever felt a soft sweater warm your shoulders and thought, this feels safe? Clothes are so normal that we forget how strange they really are. A second skin made by human hands, a daily habit carrying thousands of years of history. Today, I want to take you on a journey through time, not through wars and kings only, but through thread, fabric, and the quiet choices people made every day. Because the history of clothing is the history of survival and the history of identity. It is the story of how humans learned to protect the body and then learned to express the soul. So get comfortable. Imagine the world before closets, before fashion stores, before labels and sizes. Let's begin at the very beginning. Long ago, early humans lived close to nature. The weather was not a background detail, it was a powerful enemy. Cold wind could kill, strong sun could burn, sharp plants could cut skin, and in many places, the Ice Age made life even harder. At first, clothing was simple, animal hides wrapped around the body. Not elegant, not perfect, just necessary. But even that simple hide was a breakthrough. It meant longer travel. It meant more hunting. It meant humans could live in colder lands. Then came the tools. Stone scrapers helped clean hides. Bone needles appeared, letting people stitch pieces together. A stitched garment fits better than a loose wrap. It keeps warmth in. It makes movement easier. With each stitch, humans quietly became more advanced. But here is something surprising. Clothing was not only about warmth. Very early on, humans started decorating. Shells became necklaces. Feathers became symbols. Teeth and bones became trophies. Clothing began to speak. It said, I am strong, or I belong to this group, or I am a leader. Before writing, before cities, clothing was already a language. As humans learned farming, life changed. People settled near rivers and built towns. They grew plants and raised animals. That meant new materials, flax for linen, wool from sheep, cotton in warmer climates, and even silk in parts of Asia. Suddenly, clothing wasn't only made from animals. It came from fields and farms. That shift created a new world of work, spinning thread, weaving fabric, dyeing cloth, and trading garments. Clothing became part of the economy. In hot climates, people preferred light fabric that breathed. In colder places, thick woven cloth became essential. Clothing adapted to nature, but also to culture. Clothes began to show where you were from, what you did, and what your community valued. Even the idea of special clothes started here. A worker wore practical cloth. A leader wore rare fabric. A wedding outfit carried meaning. Clothing began to separate ordinary days from sacred moments. When civilizations grew, Egypt, Mesopotamia, Greece, Rome, clothing became a symbol of order. In many places, what you wore could reveal your rank. In Egypt, linen was prized because it felt cool in the heat and looked clean under bright sun. Simple garments became elegant through jewelry, pleats, and careful design. Appearance mattered because it reflected harmony, status, and dignity. In Greece and Rome, draped clothing ruled. Large pieces of cloth folded and pinned. It looked simple, yet it required skill. The way fabric fell across the body became an art. In Rome, clothing could be political. Certain styles were linked to citizenship, power, and public life. Color also mattered. Some dyes were rare and expensive, so wearing them was like wearing money. This is when fashion becomes very clear. Clothing is not only protection, it is presentation. It is a message sent before you speak. After ancient empires weakened, Europe entered centuries of change. Life became more local, and weather in many regions felt colder. Clothing became heavier, layered, and practical. Wool was everywhere because sheep were common and wool could be warm. People wore tunics, cloaks, and long dresses, often with simple, natural colors. But even in this period, clothing carried rules. Many societies created laws about what people could wear. Expensive materials and bright dyes were often reserved for the wealthy. The goal was simple: make social class visible. A rich person should look rich. A poor person should not pretend to be noble. Yet creativity still survived. Tailors became more important. Garments began fitting the body better. Buttons, laces, and improved stitching changed everything. Once clothing could be shaped, it could be styled. People found small ways to look beautiful. Trim on a sleeve, embroidery on a collar, a colored ribbon tied just right. Even in hard times, humans still wanted meaning and beauty. Then came the Renaissance, and Europe exploded with art, trade, and new ideas. Clothing became dramatic. Silks, velvets, and fine lace appeared in wealthy circles. Sleeves grew larger, dresses widened, jewelry became richer. But the biggest change was speed. For a long time, clothing styles stayed stable. In the Renaissance, trends began changing more quickly. Courts became fashion centers. When powerful people wore something new, others copied it. Clothing became influence. Trade also brought new dyes, fabrics, and inspirations from distant cultures. Fashion became global before people even used the word global. Still, clothing was slow to make. Every stitch was by hand. That meant fashion was mostly for the rich. Yet the idea of wanting the new look spread into the imagination of everyone. For thousands of years, clothes were handmade. Then machines changed everything. Factories could spin thread at incredible speed. Looms could weave fabric in hours instead of weeks. The sewing machine transformed production. Clothing became cheaper, faster, and more available than ever before. This was a revolution in daily life. Regular families could own more outfits. People could dress for work, for home, and for special occasions. Clothing choices increased. Fashion became reachable. But the story also gained a shadow. Many factories were harsh. Workers, including children, labored long hours. Clothes became products, not treasures. When something is easy to replace, we value it less. The Industrial Revolution didn't just change clothing, it changed our relationship with clothing. It moved garments from handmade identity to mass-made consumption. The 1900s arrived like a fast storm. Each decade brought a new look. Clothing reflected social change. Wars pushed women into new roles, and clothing became more practical. Corsets faded as movement became important. New hairstyles and shorter skirts shocked older generations. Fashion became rebellion. Then youth culture rose. Teenagers became a new force in society, and they wanted their own style. Music, film, and pop culture shaped clothing. A jacket, a pair of boots, or a certain haircut could say, "This is my tribe." And then there were blue jeans, born as tough workwear, later worn as a symbol of independence. Over time, jeans became universal. Rich or poor, city or village, people everywhere adopted them. That is rare in history, one garment becoming a shared global uniform. In the 20th century, clothing became voice, not just warmth, statement. Today, fashion moves at lightning speed. A trend can begin online in the morning and reach millions by night. Clothes are made across multiple countries, cotton grown in one place, dyed in another, stitched in another, sold somewhere else. This connected world has beauty. Styles mix, cultures inspire each other. People discover garments, patterns, and traditions beyond their borders. Clothing becomes a bridge. But modern fashion also has problems. Fast fashion makes clothing so cheap that people buy more than they need. Some items are worn a few times, then thrown away. That creates mountains of waste. It also uses huge amounts of water, energy, and chemicals. And in some places, workers still face unfair conditions. That's why a new movement is growing: sustainable fashion. People are choosing quality over quantity. They buy secondhand. They repair clothes. They support brands that pay fair wages and use safer materials. They ask a powerful question: who made this? In a way, sustainability is not new. It is a return to older wisdom. Treat clothing with respect.
The future of clothing is already arriving. Scientists are creating new materials from plants, recycled fibers, and innovative sources. Some fabrics can resist water better, breathe more efficiently, or last longer with less damage. Smart textiles may bring clothes that react to temperature, track health, or support the body in new ways. And personalization is growing too. One day, instead of guessing small or large, you might get clothing made exactly for your body. Perfect fit, less waste. Yet no matter how advanced the future becomes, the heart of clothing will remain the same: feeling. Clothes comfort us, they protect us, they help us face the world, they help us express who we are inside.
Now look at what you are wearing. Think of the long path behind that fabric. Ancient fires, bone needles, river civilizations, royal courts, factory machines, youth revolutions, and global supply chains. Millions of hands, thousands of years. Clothes are not just fabric. They are human creativity, human survival, human identity. And the next time you get dressed, maybe you'll feel it, the quiet magic. You are not only wearing a shirt or a jacket, you are wearing the story of us. Thank you for joining me on this journey through time. Stay curious, stay kind, and most importantly, stay yourself.